there's new management at the top, and so they've decided, we're going to try and get away from this black guy who presided over the Harvey Weinstein story and the Lauer disgrace and all of it. So this is a good first step, I should say.
Yes.
But I should point out that I've spoken to a number of women, victims who've worked at NBC, and they say, the fact that this Andy Lack gets to walk out of the building, on his own accord is a disgrace.
That was investigative journalist Rich McHugh sharing his thoughts with Tucker Carlson on NBC News and MSNBC chairman Andy Lack's exit from NBC. Rich worked with Ronan Farrow at NBC on their reporting about Harvey Weinstein, which was quashed by executives there, including Andy Lack himself.
Rich also revealed in that interview that the New York Attorney General's office is investigating NBC for sexual harassment, retaliation, and gender discrimination claims. And Rich joins us now via Skype to expand on all of this. Always great to see you, Rich.
Thanks for having me.
Let's actually just start with a little bit of your time and your experience at NBC, and especially how it relates to Andy Lack.
Sure. Our timelines actually coincide a bit. I came to NBC in 2015, right at the beginning of the Brian Williams debacle. And I was in the investigative unit, worked on a number of stories. We, partnered with Ronan and then worked on the Weinstein story for a year in end of 2016 through 2017. That was really where my experience came into contact with Andy Lack. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but
Yeah, I mean, we can go and read Ronan Farrow's book. He describes a lot of this in detail, Rich. I know that one of the things that you were talking about there is that you were contacted by the New York Attorney General's office for an investigation specifically into NBC's handling of this claim. What can you tell us about your own involvement within this inquiry from the Attorney General's office, and maybe what you know about it writ large into what the type of things that they're looking into?
Sure. So I should say that I can't say definitively this is because of the handling of the Weinstein story or things around it, but the two line up. So I was contacted by members of the investigators with the New York Attorney General's office in the civil division, and I don't think they really were after my experience. They were wanting to know others who were affected, might have been affected, sexual harassment and things like that. And if I had known anybody, and direct people to them. But I do know that a number of women. So that was last November, and I do know that a number of women and men actually spoke with them over a number of months. What exactly, I never followed up with these people. So what exactly those conversations were, I don't know. But I know that they've been taking it very seriously.
And where could that potentially lead?
It's a good question. I don't know if it can lead to anything criminal. I don't get the sense that that's what it was about. It was, it's the civil division, the same group that went after Weinstein civilly. And, it could lead to, who knows? It could lead to subpoenas. It's a fact-finding and information mission. That was my understanding at the point. And my guess was that if they found enough of a pattern of, let's say, discrimination or harassment, they would kick it up to a new level.
Mm-hmm. So, Rich, we heard you there on Tucker Carlson's show talking about how a lot of the victims inside NBC News felt that it was a disgrace that Andy Lack got to walk out of the building kind of with his head held high, probably with a nice exit package and not any real scrutiny. Just tell us about the feeling of within those victims at NBC News and other people that you have spoken to around this situation.
They felt that it was just wrong that he got to leave NBC on his own accord, that he got to, quote unquote, resign after their careers and in some cases their lives were derailed by certain, people within the building and the way the executives there handled everything. So there's definitely a lot of frustration and over how this is being handled and continue to be handled. And I should say, it's interesting to note that given how they've done this and how they've reorganized everything, that they couldn't find one qualified female executive to join the ranks. It might be something that they want to consider, especially given how sensitive these things are.
Yeah.
Some friendly advice there. Yeah, they might take you up on that. I did want to ask you, Rich, obviously star anchor Matt Lauer faced his own allegations. Andy Lack faced his own allegations. Do you think that the culture and their vulnerability on Me Too issues, within the company itself made them more reluctant to go after other powerful men like what you experienced?
No doubt about it. I mean, we saw it firsthand with the reluctance to go after Harvey Weinstein. It was like we had, our reporting was robust, and yet we still couldn't go forward. And we now understand why, is because there was these conversations that were happening in the background about this very thing. And so, there was always lack of reluctance to go after, say, the president and all of his, issues, let's say. But when it was a private individual like this, yes.
Yeah, it really makes sense. All right, Rich, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Rich.
Happy to be on.
Next on Rising, big business is coming to Washington asking for more handouts. American Compass Executive Director Oren Cass, he shares how we can change our economy to prevent behavior like this one.